Well, good morning here. We're at the Round Pen Revival at JT Ranch, our new podcast, and I'm here with Dani Lyman.
We have a new podcast.
Woo! And I'm Tereesa Wentland, and we're super excited. We're here at the Round Pen here at JT Ranch. And if you haven't watched our opening podcast so you know what this is all about, go back and listen to that. Super great. So you have an understanding of where we're coming from. But of course, we're coming from the Round Pen today. So we're going to be talking about don't sell your saddle. Oh my gosh. Super exciting. So, Dani, what does don't sell your saddle mean to you?
Well, first of all, it's a song. If you don't know it, go listen to it because then you'll get it. But don't sell your saddle comes from don't throw in the towel. I think it's a horseman's verbiage of don't throw in the towel because I think there's a lot of harsh realities when you try new things in the horse world or in general, anywhere. And I've seen it and I felt it. And I think it just boils down to grit. And for those of you who come from a place of faith where we do, it boils down to that grit and trusting in your faith and who you put your faith in.
Yes. And I think so much of the time that we talk about faith, and especially when it comes to horses, you know, we have to have some faith in the fact that the horse has a willingness to be changed and is open, willing, and soft. And that's what really brought us to this podcast is the Round Pen and really stepping into our philosophy of open, willing, and soft. And, you know, when we're talking about not giving up and, you know, there's so many times in our lives and in the lives of the horses, you know, we've given up on something because it was hard. We came against something that created resistance. So we literally closed our rib cage like the horses do. And we were like, nope, I'm not doing that. And we literally sold our saddle or sold whatever it was or quit doing whatever we set out to do because it was hard. You know, I'd like to ask you, Dani, is there something in your life or here at the ranch where you feel like you sold your saddle?
I don't think I've sold it. I think I considered it. Thought, you know, put it up for marketplace and see what you got. You're like, oh, well, I'll kind of strap for cash. I could probably get $3,000 out of that if I just throw it up there. I think it's any time frame that I was a beginner in something, which was a lot. If you know, I've been here for 10 years, just about. It's like a long time. For me, that's a third of my life almost.
Hey.
But I mean, there's times I can think of an instance. I can think of a couple I could give you right now if I'm not going to ramble on like an old man, which is I think what I aspire to be. Like, I did have within the first couple years, I did start to see what some horses were capable of working with problem horses because we get a lot here. We've done everything from starting fresh babies all the way from, you know, this horse is this is its last chance. Like if it's willing to change, it's willing to change. If not, somebody's going to have to figure something out. And that can be a little bit eye-opening when you've only had safe experiences. I was super privileged to have had some of the horses that I had because, you know, my mom and my sister and I, we just ride the hair off the one that we had and we all shared and like, God bless that mare. And then we kind of swindled 2 extra horses into our pen. We didn't tell my dad. We told him it was just one. They're both the same color, so we just kind of put them in there. And I didn't know enough to be afraid. So we just went out and did stuff. And if something came up, it was kind of by the grace of God and the gentleness of the horses that we had, as much as everybody's a brat sometimes. But like that horse really carried me through a lot of stuff that just gave me so much courage and confidence and excitement in the horse world. But, you know, you start to see things and it puts little pages in your head and you can decide if you're going to let that be a future fear or if you're going to let that be a tool to something that like you can figure it out. So I do remember a time sitting at the kitchen counter. I was just scared to get on everything. I think I was 20 at that time.
I remember.
And I remember I was like, I just feel like I'm having to come apart every time I get on something. I just can't settle down. And when you're like that, it just makes the horse worse. And then you're creating stuff that never existed in the first place by replaying pages in your head. And And it was that point, like, sell your saddle, sell out, decide that's not for you, and give into that fear. But fear is not from God. Perfect love casts out fear. There's no fear. God can use it. God can use anything to bring glory to who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But fear is from Satan, and that is who drives this world. So creating stories from fear is not of God. So, and then we decided I remember this conversation too, and I would cry all the time. And it was like, just do your very best walk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then do your very best trot. Do your very best lope. And then by doing that, delete that ad that I put in my saddle on Marketplace. Not literally, okay, but I like my stuff.
Your analogy. Yep.
Yeah. And you saddle it back up and go again.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that a lot of people see moments of success in people's lives and think that nobody else has ever felt that. Well, they've never felt that. That's why they're successful. Well, they've never wanted to give in. Like, God bless America. You think nobody else has felt that except for you? And what moon man language is that? Are you the only special one? Like, I'm not the only one who's felt like that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I agree because, being a young female in the horse world is when I first started JT Ranch. So just so you know, we've been around 25 years. Yes, I was only 4 when I started JT Ranch. But, those days were rough. First of all, I had a lot of limiting beliefs from my childhood. And so I did not feel success was for me. I thought that the world was out to get me. And of course, every single person that had something to say that didn't line up with how I thought, of course, that I took it personally. So then I was in the drama triangle all the time, feeling like, everything was happening to me. And for a lot of years, I carried that as a horseman and a equestrian program owner. And unfortunately, it held me back, I think, in a lot of ways. And I felt like I had to make decisions that I probably didn't need to make because I was in that survival mode of, this is just too hard. I'm just not going to deal with that, right? I'm not going to deal with how hard it is to deal with people, especially horse people. Holy cow. Let me tell you about horse people. That's a whole nother podcast.
And I'm sure it's been each other. I'm sure I've been that person, so I'm not.
So it's just like, I just remember thinking, I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to be in the professional horse world if it means I have to deal with all these horse people that are so difficult. And my goodness, that too, like Dani said, I think that was Satan talking. He knows where you're weakest. He knows the things that have the value system that you were brought up with. He was with you all there watching. He was on the sidelines. So he knows where you're weak. And for me, I was weak in my confidence. I was weak in believing in myself. I was weak in believing that there was good things for me and that I could be successful and it was okay to be successful. But I kept stepping into that place of feeling less than. And so for those of you that are out there, and you're limiting yourself because of your past experiences and your past values, when you're in the round pen with a horse and you bring that in, here's what I'm going to tell you. Number 1, that horse is going to close its rib cage so quick. Number 2, the thought of moving forward with open, willing, and soft is you might as well put that to the side because there will always be resistance within your horse. Whatever you bring to the pen, that's what you put into your horse. And it's just like you when you were a kid. Unbeknownst to you, your parents put their values and beliefs into you. You didn't ask for those, but yet you took them on and you've carried them your whole life. And our horses do the same, Dani. When we come out into this round pen and we suddenly put on our beliefs and expectations, and, we're forcing, we're making, we're going to make it happen. We're going to do this today, whatever it is. We make those horses resistant because we brought our baggage in. And I see that often with our students when they come in. that don't, the ones that don't succeed or move forward in their riding. Tell us a little bit about that. Dani's a master instructor, and she's been with us for a long, long time. A master. Just a title, right? But it means that experience, right? So from your experience and teaching so many students, like, where do you see that coming in?
Like people bringing stuff in and limiting students.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest one I can see that is a fear forward, and I think that you can take that into whatever woo-woo interpretation you want to go. But a fear forward, if you have it, will be interpreted into your students, subconsciously, like
meaning fear of the horse moving forward.
If you could think of it as two things: progressing forward, just like in your life, if you're going to take that kind of perspective, but in a physical stance, if you're afraid of your student going forward on the horse, speed, physical speed, uncomfort, discomfort, that's going to be translated. So if you can think of it as a literal example in the arena, if you have a student who's kind of learning how to control the trot, and you're afraid of them going forward, which is scary. Like, we do a lot of risk management to make it so that experience is good, because we are a first touch organization. That means we're people's first experience with horses a lot. So if you have that student who's learning how to control the trot and they're moving down the rail, and you start getting amped up saying like, get your reins, get your reins, get your reins. And the horse, and it's like Indian. He's got two speeds. He's got slower, and he's going down the rail, and the student's like, well, you're freaking out, so why am I freaking out? I've never experienced this before. You've never, only one of you is allowed to freak out, right? And it's never you. So when you're instilling that fear of forward into a student, instead of encouraging them to do something with it, that's okay. As they're trotting down the rail and they're learning how to control it and connect with it, it's a guiding force. It's not a bottled up force that you have to resist and force, because that builds resistance within the rider. That would be the most prevalent, I can say, because you can also see which students are afraid of forward. And I can see in my students, when I quit learning to be afraid of forward, the biggest change that I saw in them.
Yeah, because if you haven't had an experience, who do you trust?
One with more experience.
Yes. And also the one that's brought you there, the one that's in charge of you there. Like, if I have been, and I love what you said, because I remember I went ziplining and with my kids, and my kids are like, Mom, you could do this, you can do this. And everybody had to agree to go to the next level. And I was the one going, oh, no, I'm 52 years old. And because the next one you had to turn upside down. But my kids were like, Mom, it'll be fine. And so I was like, and the instructor guy was like, hey, we do this all the time. I'll get on there with you. It's going to be okay. So then it's like, oh, okay, cool. I can do it. And I did it. It was so much fun. Right. So I think it's kind of like that. And I love how you brought that out, is as an instructor, whatever our expectation is of our students is what comes out. And it's super important for us as instructors. We have to check ourselves at the gate all the time too. Constantly. Because you can't have your crap from the day. Maybe it's been a long, hot day out in the sun. It's 105 degrees and you're on your 5th lesson of the day. And every student today seemed to be a big pain in the butt. And the horses were like,
is it me? Am I the problem?
The horses are all like, it's hot, we don't want to go forward. And then you're out for lesson number 6 and you're supposed to bring the energy and not bring your crap to the arena. So you're always on a self-check mode. Because like you said, and it's interesting what you just said, I heard you, because if every single lesson is going like that, you have to ask yourself,
are all my horses dull off my left leg? Is it me? Am I the drama?
And so much of the time, this is the other thing. I call them, crap collectors. Are you ever on Facebook and you see those people and it's like, gosh, could one more thing actually happen to you? Do you make this crap up? And it's like, no, it's because whatever you put out into the world comes back to you. And the more you put it out, the more it comes back, for heaven's sake. So I would do some serious self-checking if you feel like you're a crap collector or you're out working your horse and you're always struggling. You might want to do some self-checking. Or if you're a riding instructor,
if all of
your students are having a rough week,
are you? Am I? I might be. Just the other day, I had to go sit down and eat my lunch because I was so frazzled switching into each one. And I almost ran into the truck mirror. I was like, I need to go sit down. And I was losing. I had a clipboard in my hand. I lost the clipboard. This is only 2 minutes. I lost the microphone. I lost the clipboard. I had a yogurt in my hand, and I almost hit the truck mirror. And I was like, whoa.
Pause.
Pause. I'm going to take 5. Nobody's going to die if you take 5.
Yeah. And it's not like you're going to quit because you've had that day, right? Mm-hmm. You're not selling your saddle. You're not leaving your job at the ranch because you've had that day. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, as we wrap up today, don't sell your saddle. And it's just an analogy, really, right? Mm-hmm. Of, do you have the grit and willing to walk through hard things? Are you willing to look at the situation from a different set of eyes? Are you willing to get into the round pen and ask yourself if you're open, willing, and soft? Or do you have resistance in your rib cage and it's creating tension, and so you're hard? And so the things that you could have or be blessed with, you're going to give up those things because you're unwilling to change. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what it means, is the only thing that we can do with horses is facilitate change. Once they're open, we have to take them from their wild, roots to being a trained horse that works in harmony with us. It's not about breaking them, but it's finding that open, willing, and soft. And how do we create change so that they can come to work with us? And I think that's what we're talking about today, and not giving up when that horse keeps closing its rib cage. It just needs a few more circles. It might need its head tied around a little bit.
Just wait, go sit on the panel.
You might need to flag it a little bit. You might need, whatever it needs to be done. But, and that's not to say there's some horses that we just aren't going to take any more time for, because, sometimes it's better to not put a square peg in a round hole. Too, we have to look at it from that perspective. Maybe we're trying to train an all-around horse and they really just want to be a trail horse. Or maybe they just want to be a bucking horse. They want to go on the bucking string. And so, you kind of have to learn to read that. But I think within ourselves, parting thoughts.
Don't sell your saddle. I think that just goes to show all around. Don't. I think we give up a lot too soon. And right when it gets the most messiest is usually when it's going to get really cool. And when we're beginners in anything, and we try new things all the time, we get to be okay with sucking.
Oh, I love that.
Flat on your face. You're going to have some old guy tell you look freaking stupid. And you're going to get up the next day and you're going to say, that was fine. And I'm going to do it again. And then you get to reap the benefits.
I love that. And I think that's a whole nother podcast, but ego self, as we step in, and we talked about that on our first one, about horsemen and our ego. Mm-hmm. So much of the time, you got to leave your ego at the gate too. Because if there's a balance between your ego and essence where they work in unison. But if you're solely led by your ego, you won't be open. So your essence is what brings your softness. And if you're solely led by that, it's really hard to step back and go, gosh, if I would just walk through the messy, if I just do some of the hard things, if I just don't give up.
Be okay with your forward.
Be okay with failing. Be okay with looking like a dum-dum. Be okay with, not being perfect. I think that's part of not selling your saddle. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, we just want to encourage you guys all, if there's something you're hearing on these podcasts, this is, we're going to be putting them out more. And Dani and I have just had a real big heart that we feel like God is calling us out. He's calling us out. We're not going to sit on the fence. We're going to be bold in our faith and our walk and what He's calling us to do here at the ranch. And so if there's something that spoke with you today, I'd encourage you to share this podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, come to our JT Ranch Facebook group, be part of our amazing JT Ranch community here in Chattaroy, Washington. We have a huge community of youth, adults, interns, and an amazing horsemanship program. But here's the bottom line. You're always welcome here. God bless you.